Let's take a look at factoring by grouping. So grouping is used whenever we have 4 terms to deal with. 4 terms, and you will utilize grouping. And what that means is we're going to group terms together. So you can kind of think of it as splitting the 4 terms down the middle. So we've grouped these 2 terms together and these 2 terms together. We're going to ignore these terms for now and just focus on this first group. Looking at this first group, what we want to do is we want to find a GCF. And we've talked about that. I think it was the previous video, so take a look at that video if you forget how to factor out the GCF. But looking at these 2 terms, I notice 20 and 15. The biggest number I can think of that goes into both 20 and 15 is 5. And then, of course, both terms also have a t in common, and the smallest exponent is this t to the 1. So we can pull a t to the outside. And we know at this point that that's going to leave us with some things on the inside. So we divide by our GCF here. 20 divided by 5 is 4. And t squared over t leaves us with 1t. Bring down our minus sign. 15 divided by 5 is 3. And these t's cancel out. So we've taken care of our first group. Now we're ready to focus on our second group here. Looking at this second group, I don't really notice anything that they have in common as far as 4 and 3. The only thing they have in common is a 1. So that's what we're going to take out. But also notice that this first term has a negative. Anytime that happens, you usually want to take that negative out as well. So again, the only thing these 2 terms have in common is a 1. And we're also going to pull that negative out. So that would be a negative 1 that we're pulling or factoring out. And if we divide our terms here, negative 4 divided by negative 1 is 4, positive 4. We still have our t, and then 3 divided by negative 1 is a negative 3. Now when you're factoring by grouping, once you get to this point, if these 2 terms here match, you can be pretty certain you've done everything correct. So looking at our problem, these 2 terms match. Now we're kind of looking and saying, okay, what do these 2 sides have in common? Well, they both have this 4t minus 3 term. So we can imagine that being the GCF and us pulling that out. So if we pull that out, what's left over? Well, we can see those terms will cancel, and we're left with the 5t and the minus 1. So that's going to be our other factor. And that will be our final answer.